The Haunting Peak of Lynn. My wife, Lynn, and I have shared 6 wonderful years together, recently celebrating 11 months of marriage. We've always lived a life that's uneventful, mundane even, our relationship free of peculiarities or red flags. That's why what I'm about to share is so deeply unsettling, so out of character. Lynn, with her kindness, intelligence, and grounded personality, has never cared for horror or pranks. It's simply not who she is, or was. Once, she tried watching *The Shining* with me, but she couldn't stomach half of it. That's what makes the escalating events that began 2 months ago all the more inexplicable and terrifying. It started as a peculiar morning gesture. Rushing out the door one day with a coffee in hand, I noticed Lynn hiding around the corner, her eyes darting at me from behind the wall. Just her eyes and a strand of her dark hair. Her sudden appearance startled me so much I burned my lip, spilling coffee on my pants. Her childish giggle echoed as I shut the door and waved it off as playful mischief. Still, as I drove to work, the image of her peeking from the corner lingered in my mind. I brushed it off. Life returned to normal. Until 3 nights later. Awake at 2 a.m., I ventured into the kitchen for a drink. As I stood by the refrigerator, a cold chill crawled up my spine. I was being watched. That's when I saw her. Lynn crouched on the other side of the kitchen island, peeking up at me with wide, unblinking eyes and an unnervingly wide grin. I screamed, not out of anger but primal fear. My wife, the woman I'd shared 6 years of trust and comfort with, scuttled away like a feral creature, her hands and feet noisily smacking the tiles as she disappeared into the dark. When I returned to bed, she lay still as stone, her breathing soft and rhythmic. Was she pretending to sleep? For a fleeting moment, I thought I'd imagined the encounter, but the pit in my stomach told me otherwise. Over the following weeks, Lynn's bizarre behavior escalated. I'd catch her peeking at me more and more, her Cheshire-like grin becoming a horrifying routine. She'd lurk behind curtains, peek around furniture, and once, she somehow fit herself inside the old trunk at the foot of our bed. I'd confront her time and again, asking why asterisk. She never responded, only grinning as her eyes filled with eerie delight. This wasn't an ordinary game. It was wrong. 2 weeks passed without incident. I thought the horrifying game had ended, until one night during a casual conversation, she looked at me with a sly smile and whispered, "Maybe I've just gotten better at it." Asterisk. That's when paranoia set in. The night I saw her peeking from behind the shower curtain, I thought my heart would give out. Her face hovered inches from mine, framed by the cascading water and a curtain mottled with steam. Her wet hair clung to her face, and her darkened eye makeup leaked down her cheeks like rivers of black ink. She didn't blink. Her awful grin stretched further than it should have. I screamed, slamming myself against the cold tiles. Lynn didn't move a muscle. After what felt like years, she slowly withdrew, shutting the bathroom door with a thunderous slam. I hid there, trembling in the locked bathroom, my mind failing to rationalize what was happening. Minute after agonizing minute passed, her presence on the other side of the door palpable. The hallway seemed empty when I finally dared to peek out under the frame. And yet, I wasn't alone. The sound, that moan, quiet, raspy, bubbling with glee. Slowly, my gaze shifted toward the bedroom closet. My wife's wide eyes stared back at me through the gap in the door, her gaping mouth curling into the same inhuman smile I'd come to dread. Hands clasped against her chest, her body quivered with excitement, her raw moan deepening as she trembled in sheer delight. I bolted. I fled from our house, barefoot and soaking wet, into the night. I drove to my brother's home, hoping to find solace. But sleep was impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, her haunting grin, the knowledge she'd been hiding in the closet that whole time. As dawn broke, I debated calling her, desperate to end this horror. But as I lay on the couch, I felt an all-too-familiar sensation deep in my gut. My body froze. I was being watched. Slowly, I turned my gaze to the window. There she was, her face pressed against the glass, grinning through streaks of saliva dripping down her lips. She'd been there all night, watching, waiting. Her behavior defied logic. Asterisk. This was my wife, the woman I thought I knew for 6 years. Now she was something else entirely, something terrifying, unfathomable. As her ghastly grin widened, I knew I couldn't run from her forever. Whatever Lynn had become, one thing was clear: she didn't intend to let me go.